sarcasm. I'm sure this has happened to you before. A family member requests a piece of furniture that maybe you're too busy to build, so they go out and buy something. But they quickly find all of the shortcomings of that piece of furniture, and you kind of feel guilty about it, right? So there are, thankfully, things you can do to modify commercial furniture to make it a little bit better. And it just depends on how much money and effort you want to put into it. But this desk in particular has a lot of shortcomings, and I'm going to see what I can do to make it better without spending more than the cost of the desk, because it wasn't very expensive. All right, so let me show you what's wrong with this thing. So we've got a hot mess of things going on here. First of all, there's a keyboard tray that has a ton of space. And for a really low profile keyboard like this, it's kind of unnecessary. So it's hard to get the chair up where you want it, and your knees could definitely hit that. So maybe we could raise that up. Got another issue here with this computer. It's a fairly large computer, but it doesn't go much further back because there's a shelf right here. It's nice to have a shelf there, but if we could raise it a couple of inches, I think that would make life a whole lot better here. In these upper cabinets here, there's no adjustable shelf. It's just a big open compartment. So how about we make a couple of shelves in there with a few adjustment pins, and then of course down here there's another similar compartment with no adjustable shelves. You would think that with that big space they would have included them. The other thing is, just as kind of bonus things, I want to add more power to the desk that's conveniently located, and possibly even some LED lights or something on the top. Now, the biggest offender I saved for last. Let me show you the drawers. So we've got a, 19.5-inch case here, and there are 3 drawers, and when I pull this out, you might notice something. All I really have access to is about 7 inches of space. The drawer itself goes back maybe another 6.5 inches, 7 inches, and check this out. Remember I said 19.5 was the total depth of the cabinet, and I've got a 14.25-inch drawer here. So there's tons of dead space behind there, so I think we can do something about that. So of course, some of the work will have to be done here on location, some will be done in my shop, but either way, I've got to take some measurements and possibly take some things back to the shop so I could work on them. For the shelves, I take the interior measurements and just subtract about 1/4 inch from the width to make room for the shelf pins. Back at the shop, I'll cut and paint some 1/2-inch plywood. This dark brown color isn't a perfect match, but it's what I've got, and it's close enough. Once the paint dries, I give the shelf a nice water-based clear coat. Back at the desk, I'll use a shelf pin drilling guide to make a few sets of holes. The hole guide is Rockler's shelf pin jig, and I've had it for about 15 years now. Comes in real handy for stuff like this. In a pinch, you can actually use a piece of pegboard to get the spacing consistent. Now let's raise that center shelf. Pretty sure Paul approves. The shelf is held in place with 2 screws on each side, so I'll remove those first, and out comes the shelf. I cut a couple of supports that will hold the shelf in its new position temporarily. Some pilot holes first, and then I can drive the screws. By the way, I have to apologize for how much you're going to see the back of my big dumb head, but the office is kind of small and my head is not. Next, let's tackle the stupid keyboard tray. I'll remove the supports and the hardware and then take the pieces back to my shop to remove about 1 inch from each one. Then I can drill for the hardware and reinstall the slides. The pieces go back on the desk the way that they came out. Mom wants 2 USB power ports on the desk, one of which also serves as a wireless charger, which is pretty sweet. Installation requires a bit of surgery. This is not one of those upgrades that you can change your mind on in the future. To cut the holes, I'll first drill a couple of starter holes and then use a jigsaw to cut the circle. I'll also make a futile attempt to contain the dust. A for effort. Thankfully, the flange on the port covers up any bad sawing or tear out that we might have. Next up, LED lights, and a peanut M&M brick, apparently. The light strip comes with some frustrating clips that you can use, but I think we're just going to go with the adhesive backing. And this little bit of backlighting should be really nice for Mom when she stays up late playing casino games and downloading viruses. And now for the most labor-intensive change, the drawers. I'm measuring to the bottom of each drawer box and writing those numbers down so that I can make some installation helpers later. I'm actually only replacing the top 2 drawers. The file cabinet at the bottom will just get a slide upgrade. Now the only part that I'm keeping here is the drawer front, so I use tape to outline the bottom of the drawer box and use a mallet to hammer that bullshit right off of there. Obviously the drawer sides just fall apart because they're made of compressed expectations. And now I proceed with making 2 completely new drawer boxes using grooves and rabbets. I originally thought I'd just build small add-on boxes that I'd attach to the back of the existing drawers, but then it occurred to me that it's the exact same amount of labor to build a tiny box as it is to build a slightly larger box, so why the heck not just replace the whole thing and be done with it? So here we are. Now you can see why I put that tape on the inside of the drawer fronts. The tape shows me exactly where the drawer box should go, so I can attach it with some screws and then reinstall the knob, which now needs a slightly longer screw. The slides are then attached to the drawer box sides, aligning with the bottom of the box. Remember those measurements that I took earlier? I'll use those to make some spacers to help with installation. Starting with the top first, I'll install the new slides into the cabinet sides. If I took my measurements correctly, this should all work out on the first shot. As many times as I've done something like this, I always have a little bit of hesitation when I pop the drawers back in to check the fit. So far, so good. And now for an appropriate level of celebration. Alright, so it took the better part of a day to get all this stuff done, but I think my mom's really going to enjoy the desk. It's like a whole new desk at this point. So let me show you all of the changes. Let's survey the results of our newly polished turd. As you can see, the computer now goes all the way back and leaves plenty of work surface on the desktop. The keyboard tray is now higher and less likely to collide with unsuspecting kneecaps. The power ports are working perfectly, and this wireless charger is pretty nifty, until it breaks. The adjustable shelves that should have been there to begin with are now doing what shelves are supposed to do. And of course, the drawers now act like functional drawers, making full use of the space available. And even though we didn't extend the file drawer, the new slides give us full access to all of the files. By the way, it's my understanding that drawers are made this way for CYA reasons. I certainly don't want to see anyone hurt by furniture, but I feel like this is a little bit excessive, but what do I know? So let's sum up this debacle. The original cost of the desk was $342. The cost of all the crap that I bought was $1,000. And that doesn't include any labor or plywood costs. The look on my mom's face when her desk actually works like it should? Priceless. I should also note that the 2 charging ports themselves were $65 of that $130 investment, so if you're thinking of doing something like this, you could save a lot of money if you don't need something like that. So was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was, especially considering if we ever throw this thing away, I can scavenge all the tech and hardware and use them on something else in the future. Now, I should be clear here. In no way am I saying that it's a good thing to go and just buy a cheap desk and then spend a bunch of money to make it better. This is a situation I was in. The desk is already here, so if I could do a few things and put a few bucks into it to make it that much more functional and keep it out of a landfill for a little bit longer, that's what we're going to do, okay? So hopefully this gives you some ideas if you have a desk of your own that you need to modify. And if you have some ideas, you know, put them in the comments. I would love to hear other things. More money that I could spend on this desk to make it better. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later. Toodles.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A.
Say hi, YouTube.
I got camping stuff today.
Yeah, baby.
I'm going to Chick-fil-A.
One thing I've noticed in looking at my stats, and that's most of you are not subscribed to the videos, and even more of you do not click the notification bell, which lets you know that a video has come out. Every time we post a video, I'm going to give away 5 free Wood Whisperer Guild projects, and the way you win is by being here within the first hour. So how do you do that? You make sure you're subbed, and you make sure you have notifications turned on. Make sure it's set to all, so you get all notifications, and you want to check your YouTube settings to make sure that those are allowing your notifications to come through. All right, so you have a chance to win every time we post a video, but you've got to be here within that first hour. Look for the link that I'm going to put in the pinned comment on each one of these videos, and 5 lucky winners each time will get a free guild project of their choosing. Thanks for watching.